So for intervention, you guys are going to, this will be the second one we're looking at. So there's reflections, and as you can kind of see, it's being reflected across. So there's two ways you're going to, technically three ways, but mainly two ways, either over the x-axis or over the y-axis. So when going over the x-axis, the original point, you just simply change the sign of the y value. So for example, your original point started as a -4, a +2, a -4, a +5, and a -1, a +2. So notice how your x values stay the exact same. Your y values have changed sign. So if we look, notice how this is A and B and C. Notice how this is A with an apostrophe. We call that A prime. B with an apostrophe and C with an apostrophe. So B prime and C prime. So this is our start. So if you notice, we went from point A down 1, 2 towards the x-axis, 1, 2 across the x-axis, so that's reflected. Same thing with C, we went 1, 2, so it needs to be 2 over on the other side. So that's how we're getting those points. So then when reflecting across the y-axis, simply change the sign of the x value. The y value should remain the same for any point reflected across the y-axis. So again, we started with A, B, C, and so to go across, we go A prime, B prime, C prime. So notice how it's on the opposite side of the y-axis right here. So to do this, we look at C, we go across 1, 2, and A is 1, 2, 3, 4 away, so it should be 1, 2, 3, 4 away. So if you notice how all of the negatives for your x's change to positives when reflected. So again, the only thing that's changed was the sign of the x value. So let's go ahead and look at example number 1. Reflect the point A, B, C, D across the x-axis. So, which one is x? Well, you can clearly see this marked as the x-axis. So, it's similar to translating. It's all about counting. It's just trying to go towards the x-axis instead of trying to figure out where are you going left, right, up, or down. So, if we start with point A, we can see that that's 1, 2 away from the x-axis. So, it should be 1, 2 away. So, this should be A prime. So that point is at a +1 still, but now instead of being at a +2, it's down at a -2. So this should be a +1 and a -2. So we'll do the same thing with B. B's all the way up here, so we're going to move down 1, 2, 3, 4 to the x-axis, and then just continue on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be B prime. So that point would be 1, 2, down 1, 2, 3, 4. So a +2 because I went to the right, and a -4 because I went down. So C is going to start up here and do about the exact same, down 1, 2, 3, 4 towards the x-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's at +4 and then down to -4. So that's going to be at 4, -4. And D, we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. So then we look at point D. Again, we went down 2, and that should have been at a +5 and a -2. So if you notice, you have the same shape kind of flipped over on itself over the x-axis. Now we're going to do the same thing, reflect ABC across the y-axis. So we start with point A, and this is going to be our y-axis. So we go across 1, so we go across 1 more. So this should be A prime. So instead of being a +1, +2, we're now a -1, +2. So B is going to be up here, so we're going to go over 1, 2, 1, 2. So again, was a positive 2. Now it's a negative 2. So we got negative 2, positive 4. C, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that should be at a negative 4 now, but up to a positive 4. Oh. Had it right the first time. And then D, you're going to go across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be D prime. So we can now see that it basically looks the same except for B, or they've all kind of flipped each other because we flipped the whole shape across. So after reflecting across the x-axis, which quadrant did you end up in? So we started in the first quadrant, so we went to the second, third, and it ended up in the fourth quadrant. And then the y, when we switched over the y, we went from the first and we switched over to the second quadrant. So let's go ahead and look at number 5. So it says, when we reflect over the y-axis, where would you find point A and B? So again, we're looking for the y-axis. So this is A. So we go over 1, over 2. So that's going to be A prime. So instead of being at a negative 1 and a positive 1, it's at a positive 1, positive 1. B is going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So instead of being at a negative 4, B prime is going to be at a positive 4, positive 1. So now we're going to look at reflecting points A and B across the x-axis. So if you look, we have A right here and B right here, so we're going towards the x-axis this time. So instead of going across the y-axis, we actually want to go across the x-axis. So down 1 and down 1 more. So A prime should be right there. So we still have the x coordinates in common, so negative 1. But instead of going up 1, we now need to go down 1, which should make A prime a negative 1 and a negative 1. Same thing with B. B is going to move down 1 towards the x-axis and 1 more towards below the x-axis. That's going to be B prime. So instead of a positive 4, we're going to have a negative 4. Instead of a negative 4, we keep that, but it becomes a negative 1. So if you notice, your points have kind of changed all over to go over the x and over the y. So if we look at number 7, we're going to actually change this. So I changed my mind. We're going to just go over the y-axis. So ignore what I just said. So we're reflecting over the y-axis. So again, you can find your y-axis denoted here, straight up. So W is going to go over 1, over 1 more. X is going to go over 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3 on the other side. Y is going to go over 1, so over 1 on the other side. And Z is going to go over 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. So W prime is going to be at a negative 1 over, negative 1 down. X prime is going to be at a negative 3, negative 1. Y prime is going to be at a negative 1, down negative 4. And Z is going to be a negative 3, negative 4. So we're going to do the same thing and go over the x-axis. So again, we're finding where x is. I'm going to make this other shape a box. There we go. So now we're going to go over the x-axis. So again, you can find the x-axis horizontal. So W, go up 1, so up 1 on the other side. X, up 1, so up 1 on the other side. Y, up 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Z, up 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should be the exact same shape, just kind of reversed and flipped over on itself. So notice how W and X are right near each other, whereas Y and Z are further from the x-axis, so they're further away. So all of our points are going to be positive, so W prime should be at 1, 1. X prime should be at 3, 1. Y prime should be at 1, 4. And Z prime should be at 3, 4. So now you're going to go ahead and do number 9 on your own. Go ahead and reflect M, N, and O. I'm going to help you with M across the x-axis. So if you notice, M's already on the x-axis, so I don't have to go up or over. So M prime is actually going to be the exact same. So a negative 1, 2, 3. And 0. So that one is a little tricky because there's no counting. It just stays right on that line. So go ahead and finish up 9 and 10 and then work on the back. All it is changing either your X or your Y coordinate. So if you go back to the beginning, if you change over the X axis, you simply change the sign of the Y value. If you reflect over the y-axis, you simply change the sign of the x value, so kind of the opposite of what you're looking for. So make sure you take your pictures of the front and the back of your notes and submit them on Canvas under my class's intervention. So not like your intervention class on Canvas, but like Miss Mickler's math class. Under intervention, it will say reflection notes, and then you have 2 reflection Khan Academies that need to be done as well. So make sure you're working on those, and if you haven't finished the translation ones, make sure that you finish up those as well.